What is up, everyone? It is your Man on Fire mentor, David Mailer, and it is always a pleasure and an honor to be of service to my fellow brothers. All right, for those of you that have never tuned into one of our podcasts or seen me on YouTube, seen me on Instagram, seen me on Facebook, I am the Man on Fire mentor, and our company is a personal development company. And we specialize in helping men get the hell out of their heads and drop back into your body, drop into your heart, start feeling emotions again, start being more vulnerable and visible and available to your family, from your children to your wife to humanity. And we also support men in up-leveling their masculine leadership in the different domains of their life, from health and wealth to their career, to their mission and purpose, and very important, to their marriage. So without any further ado, let us dive into the center of the fire and go into today's topic, which is the question: why don't you, yes you, why don't you have the life that you truly desire? What the hell does that even mean? All right, let's break this down. Well, I feel that most men, if not all, have a common thread that we share. And the thread that we share is we all are seeking some form of freedom. We are all seeking some form of fulfillment. And the fear that we have is really not of dying. The fear that we have is that we did not fully live into our true potential. The fear is that when we take our last breath, was it one of regret or was it one of fulfillment? Was it one of feeling disappointed, or was it a breath where we have a smile? And we know that we gave, we loved, we served every ounce of our being, every cell of our body. We left it all on the field. And so this is the great dilemma that every man is faced with, which is, I don't want my life to end with regret. I know that inside of me there's a potential. I know that I was born for greatness. I know that God didn't leave me out of the master plan. I know that there's so much more I could be doing, so much more I could be giving. I could be serving in so many other ways. So the question is, am I truly living into who I was born to be? Am I living into my true destiny? Am I having the life that I desire? And so when we talk about desire, in the context of this conversation, I'm not referring to things that you want in relationship to so that you can feel better about yourself, right? Like, I want a bigger house. I want to make more money. And by the way, guys, before I go any further, because I'm not seeing any comments popping up, I want to actually make sure that you guys are hearing me, you guys are seeing me right now. So let me see if there's some comments that come in. I'm a little concerned that you guys aren't seeing me right now. So let's just see what's going on here. Just bear with me. My apologies here. I think I'm having some technical difficulties. Let's see. Give me 10 more seconds here. All right. For those of you that are just joining me now on Instagram, my apologies. I don't believe that I ever hit the button where I went live. For those of you that are on Facebook or YouTube or whatever fancy social media platform is out there, I know that you can see me right now because I can see your comments. So if you're tuning in late or if you're on Instagram, we were talking today about why might you not have the life that you desire? And I took a step back by basically sharing that I think that all men really want the same thing. I think that when we're on our deathbed, we want to know that our last breath is one of joy. It's one of freedom. It's one of fulfillment. It's one with a smile on our face. It's one where internally we're saying to ourselves, I did it. I did it. I lived into the fullness of who God made me to be. I gave with every ounce of my being. I gave, I loved, I served, which was a saying of my chiropractic school, Life College in Marietta, Georgia, that I went to from 1990 to 1994. I love that. And you know that you were able to step into the fullness of your potential and live the life that God had designed for you and that your soul had agreed to fulfill in this lifetime. You know, your destiny, right? Like Luke, it is your destiny. Like, what is your destiny? So we're all after the same thing. We don't want to waste a life. We don't want to, you know, in our 70s, 80s, be faced with, why didn't I step into my true gift? Why didn't I step into my true potential? Why did I sell my wife or my children or the world short of the greatness of who I am? And we know why, right? If you've been tuning into some of my, you know, social media and listening to my podcast, like, we're all riddled with the same fears. The fear that I'm not going to be good enough, the fear that I'm unworthy, the fear that I'm unlovable. We're terrified to fail. We're terrified to look stupid. We're terrified to be rejected. And so a lot of us shrink and contract and hide and fall into this life of complacency and being ordinary and being bland and being average and being okay and being fair. And I'm going to always be here, gentlemen, to remind you that that's not who you are. It's simply not who you are. You were born for an extraordinary life. You were born to have a phenomenal life. And if you're not having that, it's simply because you forgot that that's who you are. That's it. It's not that God left you out of the big plans. It's not that you're punished. It's not that you're cursed. You forgot. You forgot that you are phenomenal. You forgot that you're extraordinary, and you got off track, and you're living into a version of you that's not coherent. It's not consistent. It's not aligned with the real you. So anyone that tunes into Man on Fire and then ends up joining one of our coaching programs, I promise that you will be held to the fire. You'll be held to the fire. You'll be held accountable to who you truly are. And this is what men need today, right? They need more support. They need more challenge. They need to be held more accountable. Unless you're one of the few, like the Goggins, the Navy SEALs, that are just self-motivated, which very few men are, and God bless you if you are. But if you're not one of those guys, get yourself in a group where you are supported by other men, not where you get to bitch and moan and complain and talk about your problems. No. Get in a group where you are being taught how to turn your problems into victories. You're being taught how to turn your problems into solutions. You're being taught that your problems are nothing more than invitations from your soul to stretch and to grow and to up level and to step into the man that you were born to be. Get into a group that won't tolerate you shrinking, you contracting, you playing small. And if you're not already in one of those groups, then you're not in the right group. So for many of you, maybe Man on Fire is that group, maybe it's not. That's for you to discover. You can always go to our website, manonfirerising.com. If you're truly ready to grow, if you're ready to play at a higher level, if you're ready to invest in yourself financially, you're ready to invest your time, you're ready to invest your energy, great. Apply to see if you are eligible to speak to one of our coaches, and you will have a discovery call where we get to discover, are you right for our community? Can we help you? If we can help you, how will we help you? And you'll discover if we're the right fit. And if we are, we'll find the right coaching program for you. If Man on Fire is not the right program for you, that's perfectly okay. And most likely, we will point you in the right direction with your permission. Now, with that said, let's get back to what today's topic was about, which was, why don't you have the life you desire? So when I'm talking about desire, I don't mean like, I want a bigger house, I want a nicer car, I want a more fancy watch, I want my woman to be more beautiful. Like these are things that you want that are linked to your ego. These are things that you want where, you know, you're seeking external validation to build up your internal worth. And I have news for you, that won't work. That won't work. Turn that into a rap song. That won't work, right? It's not going to work. You can't source who you are as a man. You can't source your self-worth. You can't source your self-respect from things outside of you. You can't attach to things outside of you in order to feel better about yourself, because that will be short-lived. And that is just feeding the ego more fuel and keeping that alive, because we all have heard the expression, the ego is edging God out. No, you have to come to a place internally where you know who you are. You know what you're made of. You know what you're built for. You know what your standards are. And you don't need these things outside of you, meaning you're not needy. You're not codependent. You're not, intertwining your strings with things outside of you in order to define who you are. Nothing outside of you defines who you are. You get to define who you are. But most of you, the problem is most of you have forgotten. Most of you truly have forgotten how amazing you are. Most of you truly have forgotten that you are phenomenal and that you are extraordinary. And so you've fallen into the trap of maybe imploding a marriage or blowing up financially in a bad way. Maybe your health is deteriorating. Most men get off track. Let's face it. And for the guys that are on track, some of you are crushing it in business. Entrepreneurs, you're killing it. You got lots of money, but you might not have intimacy in your life. You might not have the relationships that have depth, that have deeper meaning. So there's a hole in your heart. And so part of being a man on fire is in your capacity to grow yourself as a man, where you're no longer sourcing things outside of you to validate who you are. And when you can come to this place of self-love, of self-fulfillment, cutting the cord of neediness, cutting the cord of codependency, what ends up happening is that the relationships that you enter into are clean, because now you don't need something from outside of you. You don't need a house to define you. You don't need a wife or a prettier girlfriend or a nicer watch or more fancy shoes. You don't need these things to build yourself up. That's a game that is designed by your ego, and you can't win that game, just like you can't win the game of turning to weed and alcohol and porn and video games or overworking. None of that will ever last long. Those are all short-term fixes to a bigger problem. Those are vices. Those are forms of pain management. They don't work. They don't work, and they only prolong the inevitable, which is your growth. And your ego won't go down without a fight. No, sir, it will not go down without a fight. Are you hearing me, gentlemen? Smash up that like key if you are inspired by the message you're hearing today. Allow the algorithms to do their mathematical precision, and allow the men that are supposed to be receiving the resonance of whatever it is that I'm sharing, let those guys find their way to this podcast, to the YouTube videos, to the Facebook videos, to the Instagram videos, to the Shazam, Babam, you name it, LinkedIn, whatever other platforms are out there, TikTok, you don't stop, whatever it is, you know what I'm talking about. All right. Also, throw me a comment. What are you hearing? I always love to know, what's landing? What are you hearing? Throw me a fire sign, right? Daniel Smart, my fireman. Throw me a fire sign. I love it. All right. So coming back to today's topic, right? I keep getting off here, but it's all interconnected, I promise. It all ends up connecting like a Seinfeld episode where they tie everything in together at the end. So what's the topic? The topic is why you may not have the life that you desire. So the first thing that we needed to make sure that we were clear on is that when I'm talking about desire, I don't mean the desire so that you can feel like you're enough. I mean desire in terms of your destiny. I mean desire in terms of your soul standard. The knowingness of who you are. It's your ability to claim the life that you want. Put that sword in the ground and declare what you want. Not so you can feel like you're enough, not so you can feel significant, not so you can get rid of any pain. No, this is if I'm honest with myself, and I'm honest with who God made me to be, and I'm honest with if I were to fully own my light, really fully embrace my power as a man, my superhero inside of me, if I were to really surrender into the magnitude of who my soul signed on to be, who God made me to be, not the problems and all the crap that's gotten in the way, that's been hiding the real reflection of me that I see in the mirror. Because most of us today, if we're honest with ourselves, we look in the mirror and we feel fraudulent. We feel like a fake, a phony. We don't like who we're seeing. Why? We know why. We've gotten off track. We've done shit we're not proud of. Ouch. I've been there. I'm not perfect. I'm here growing with you guys. Please don't ever put me on a pedestal. Don't ever turn me into a hero, because then you'll eventually turn me into a zero. Don't ever see me as a magical fix or magical genie, because that won't last long. I don't want that to be the nature of our relationship. The nature of our relationship is simple. I will always be a voice in your ear and in your heart, reminding you of who you are. And for those of you that are crystal clear, you want a higher level of support, challenge, and accountability, I suspect that one of our coaching programs might be the perfect antidote, the perfect adrenaline shot that you'll need in order for you to start showing up as a more congruent version of who God intended you to be. So when we speak of this desire, we're speaking about with total alignment with your soul. Like, you had an agreement, you and God, here's who I'm going to be when I get shot down to earth, right? Little bubble up there, happy little bubble. You volunteered to go for this assignment. Yep, I'm going to be a masculine leader, and I'm going to make a difference in the world, and I'm going to pull my family together, and I'm going to, affect my town and my city, maybe even my country, maybe even humanity, like a Gandhi, right? A lot of you know that you have that inside of you, and you've been hiding. And yeah, you've done things you're not proud of. You got the shame and you got the guilt, your two twin brothers that are hanging out on your shoulder. And now it's all about you and your victimhood, or you and your blame. And that's not who you are, guys. Come on. Stop it. Right? S-T-O-P, new word, I-T. I got that from a Bob Newhart video. It was a classic video. Look it up on YouTube. It's hysterical. Anyway, I will always be a voice, as will the coaches in my community and the men in my community. And when I say community, I mean one of our coaching programs, and which eventually leads to the Inner Chamber, which are guys that are in our year-long journey, Man on Fire journey, to deepen their personal growth, to up-level their consciousness, up-level their frequency, their vibration, so they could step more into the masculine leader that they were born to be. So why might you not have the life that you desire? Well, you might have some unconscious programming that you don't deserve it. That might be one reason. You might actually believe, well, David, if you did the things that I did and you hurt the people the way that I've hurt people, then you wouldn't have the life either. No, that's not true. I would take ownership and responsibility for how I've hurt other people, and I would clean it up with courage. I tell you right now, guys, and I'll do a live on this. One of the greatest impediments to a man's growth is his inability to clean stuff up with people that he's hurt. His inability to confront and face and handle conversations that he's been avoiding. And I say this having worked with over 10,000 men and probably worked with over 50,000 people in my lifetime, from my wellness practice, chiropractic, understanding people's patterns in their body and how it shows up in their life, and then working intimately with men over the past 8 years. One of the greatest problems that a man has is he's terrified to confront conversations. He's terrified to get it wrong. He's terrified to piss her off. Next thing you know, he becomes a little boy and she becomes mommy. I don't want to upset mommy, and you lose your voice, right? You lose your power. Maybe you hand over one of your testicles and you are just squeaking like a mouse. And you guys know that you were built to be the lion. You were built to be the lion, and the fundamental emotion that's encoded within a lion is courage. All of you have this. Now, I could tell you up until age 40, maybe 41 for myself, that was dormant inside of me. This was a fire that was just like barely hanging on. Maybe ash that had a little bit of orange left to it. And I know what's possible because I know what it's like to not live in your potential. I know what it's like to not live the life that you truly desire. I know what it's like to not step into your destiny. I know what it's like to be hiding. I know what it's like to play small. I know what it's like to be a victim. I know what it's like to blame others. I did all of that. I know what it's like to lie. I did all of that. And I also had the courage to start cleaning it up. And I've come a long way from age 40 up to age 55. And I'm here to help other men do the same. To really step into the life that was designed by your soul. So why don't we have that life? Well, as I was just sharing, one of the reasons is we don't feel we deserve it. because we've done things we're not proud of. Well, what's another reason? Another reason is you might not be hanging out with people that are going to remind you of how amazing you are, and you might have lowered your standard. And you might have been indoctrinated into a world of mediocrity, a world that's safe. But where it's safe, there's no growth. You might be in a world of fair and good and average and bland. Well, that's a boring world. Change your peer group. I didn't say stop loving your friends. I simply said change your peer group. Hang out with guys that will push you and stretch you and challenge you. That's what you'll get inside of one of our coaching programs. You will meet other men that will call you forward with an open heart, right? It's one thing to call a man out and you're judging him because it's really your own crap that's in the way. It's another thing to call a man forward, recognizing, hey, you're built for more. You're better than this. I'm not going to let you play small. The world needs you. Your family needs you. Your children need you. Your wife needs you. Your soul is calling. Let me wake you up, brother. You forgot who you are. That's what Man on Fire is all about. Helping a man remember who he is. Why? Well, when we're in our masculine leadership, when we're coming from our heart, when we're coming from a space of love, man, there's nothing we can't do. Can you imagine the smile on your children's face when you're this man? Can you imagine what it feels like for your wife when she has the masculine leader in front of her with an awakened heart? Can you imagine what that does for family? What that does for people that you interact with when you're operating from this place? That's a heavy burden to carry when you know that you're selling yourself short, because if you're selling yourself short, you're selling other people short. And I'm not bringing this up for you guys to feel bad. This is a wake-up call to stop playing small. It's time for us to put the sword in the ground and rise and remember who the hell we are. You've most likely been indoctrinated into playing small, complaining, having problems, or fallen into some sort of hypnotic state of complacency. Wake up. It's not who you are. So why don't you have the life that you desire? Well, again, peer group. Again, maybe you don't believe you deserve it. Why else? Maybe you truly forgot who you are. Maybe you've lost connection to your soul, to your spirit. Maybe you've lost connection to God, Creator, Source, whoever that is for you. Maybe you've lost that connection because in God's eyes, you're perfect. Maybe you've lost that connection. Maybe you've turned to numbing out and you've lowered your resonance so you can't even hear the wisdom that's always around you coming from a higher source. Maybe you've tuned out God and you've tuned in, I'm not good enough, I'm unlovable. And through weed and alcohol and porn, your lens has become distorted. Maybe that's why. Maybe, and I taught this at my Traction 2022 program. You guys can still buy that workshop. I think it's $97. Maybe it's as simple as you actually never slow down enough to figure out what you want. Not from a place of trying to feel like you're enough. We already covered that. But maybe you really never slow down enough, right? Because you just got so caught up in the daily minutia, the daily doings of life. I got to take care of the kids. I got to take care of my wife. I got to pay the bills. I got to go to work. Gotta. Maybe you just never slow down and actually had somebody ask you, what is it that you want? What's aligned with your soul? What's aligned with your heart? If you couldn't get it wrong, if you weren't worried about paying the bills, why did God put you on this planet? Why did God put you on earth? What's the bigger picture here? Most men, and I have probably had well over 5,000 conversations, one-on-one conversations with men, when I ask them, what do you want? It is so nondescriptive what comes out of their mouth. More often than not, it is a deer in the headlights. As if I ask them a complicated and a complex question. It's not. But most of you stopped dreaming. Most of you stopped allowing yourself to have an expanded vision for your life. Right? I remember when Conor McGregor, and I'm not debating who he is or who he's not. There's no judgment towards him, but I want to share that there was a time in his life where he won 2 belts. He had the belt in 2 different weight classes. He's an MMA fighter, for those of you that don't know. And when they were interviewing him on winning the 2 belts, and they said, "How did you do it?" I'll never forget his response. He said, "I dreamt it into reality. I dreamt it into reality." Meaning he put so much energy and so much focus on what he truly wanted that it materialized. Right? The laws of manifestation, when you bring something into physical form, he put his focus there. He put his energy there. He had the drive. He had the hunger. He had the team. Hint, hint. He had a team pushing him, challenging him, stretching him to be the best that he could be. And that's what they got out of him at that time of his life, when he had that level of focus, that level of support, and the right team around him holding him accountable to what was possible. So for many of you, it's as simple as you stopped dreaming. You really stopped and got away from taking a deeper look at what you want. Like most men, hey, what do you want? Well, I want to make more money. What do you want? I want to have a happier marriage. What do you want? I want a nicer house. That is not dreaming big, and that is not descriptive. And that will be challenging to have because there's no refinement, there's no specificity. Well, how much money do you want to make? Do you want to make 100,000? Do you want to make $1 million? Do you want to make 10 million? 50 million? Well, I want to make like 6 figures. Well, 6 figures is 100,000 up to 999,999. So why did you only say 100,000? Right? Why do we put a ceiling on what's possible? And the simple answer to that is programming, conditioning, rehearsing over and over and over and over again. I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve it. I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve it. I'm too stupid. I'm too dumb. I didn't get a proper education. I mean, this is just all lies. Excuses, story, justification. Is it your fault? No. Culture taught it to you. And it got reinforced and embedded and encoded in your physiology. And now you're living a lie. It's not you. It is not you. So I will always remind you guys that you are built for more. You are built for more. You are better than this. And each and every one of you has the ability to claim your life, to claim what you desire, to claim your destiny, to step into it, to stand in it. In fact, in July, we will be holding a Man on Fire Live event with over 200 men in a room. Claim your destiny. It is time for us as men to put the sword in the ground and claim our destiny. No more floating around. No more, let me meditate on it. No, it is time to claim our destiny. It is time to align with the real version of us that we were born to be. So stay tuned for further details on our event that will be live. I mean live as in person. Now in the meantime, for those of you that are resonating with what I'm sharing, you're aligned, you're feeling a connection to myself, to what my company stands for, and you want to discover if one of our coaching programs may be the next best step for you in your journey of personal growth as a man. Maybe it's because you need support within your marriage. Maybe you need support in your health. Maybe you need it in creating more wealth. Maybe you need it in stepping into and standing in your very mission and purpose. For those of you that truly are ready and have that hunger, where you're not just in the let me check it out phase, and you're ready to invest in yourself energetically, your time, and yes, as I shared earlier, financially, you're ready to invest in yourself, then I would recommend you go to manonfirerising.com and click on apply for a free discovery call. Fill out the application. It will only take you a few minutes. And if approved, you will get an opportunity to have a discovery call with one of our coaches. And we will explore if and how we might be able to help you through one of our programs. If we can, we'll invite you into it. And if we can't, and we don't think it's the right fit, we'll be honest with you. And we'll share that with you. All right, guys, it has been an honor to be with you today and to take a look at why we may not have the life that we're desiring. And I think we got some pretty good insight today. And it is always just such a gift that you give back to me for allowing me to share my journey, my life experiences, my triumphs and my trials and my tribulations with you, and to always invite you into playing more full out in your life. And thank you for allowing me to be a voice that gets into your ear, that gets into your heart, to allow me to be the Man on Fire mentor for you in your life. If you're following me, I'm assuming that you're enjoying the content and the material, and there's a piece of you that's waking up and remembering who you are. And that's my goal, is for you to show up more powerfully as the man that God made you to be, so you can bring that version of you back into your life and really come into a place where you can protect, you can guard, and you can be the gatekeeper to the feminine heart, right? Women today, they need men to rise into their mature masculine. They need a man that is connected into his heart. They need a man that has a backbone, that has a voice, that commands himself, that has self-respect, that is connected to his intuitive knowing, that is connected to source. This is a hunger right now, a calling from the feminine, and we owe it to them. So I will see you guys on the next podcast, on the next live. As always, it is your Man on Fire mentor, David Mailer. Thank you for diving into the center of the fire with me, because some men fear the fire and just shy away from their greatness, and some men become the fire. I'm looking for the men that are ready to become the fire. So much love to you guys, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now, guys. Much love. Put your final comments below of what you got from today's live. Please put it in the chat. It matters to me. We read these comments. You can even also let us know what are some topics that you'd love to see us cover for future podcasts and future lives. What would be meaningful to you and support you in your growth. All right, guys. Bye for now.